see. Not sure if I'm gonna be able to make a 50-minute video. Some of these things is that I've only started sort of doing. Some I've done before, and some I've like tried doing and then stopped doing. So I'll just start from the one-page document summarizing rules, goals, and all that. I've tried this thing a couple times. I never tend to like stick to it. I don't know how to explain. So this is basically a snippet from the previous one. It was like my rule. Well, yeah, rules. Basically, my setups what I want to take. So I'm kind of still in extensions, mostly because of time of day, and it's something that I need to sort of get a grasp of. So after the last meeting we had with Mark and Cody on Wednesday, I believe, I decided to pull it up again and write a little bit stricter rules and kind of try to follow them, which is extensions, which is so yeah, okay, I'm mostly afternoon. That's just a general idea what I'm thinking about, which is after 10 a.m. with higher volume than open. So when we get week open, like week volume, but then after 10 p.m. average volume becomes bigger than the opening volume, and we hold above level, above pre-market high, or some sort of support. It's better to leave it basically to the afternoon, and if you think it's gonna extend to somewhere here, just leave it alone and wait for it somewhere here basically. And yeah, short after 1 p.m. minimum, basically no earlier, because they hold the levels, they trap, and they push push for sometimes even after hours squeeze it. uh, and basically so after one you start looking then at good levels of resistance, like on daily, monthly, doesn't matter, but on the higher the time frame the better, basically high volume days, or some big technical volume, big technical area. And then yeah, combined with the tape read and technical analysis. So for example, you want to see either volume divergence or something like this, or highest volume of the day, blowout volume, and stuff into a level, read the stuff and fade. Or if you don't get this, always wait for golden zone rejection, basically on a lower volume. That's the highest going to be volume, lower volume, wait for golden zone rejection for easy entry, of course risking this accordingly, size accordingly. Yeah, so basically as I said, yeah, ideal entry, high volume stuff, or golden zone rejection. So this is just a quick summary of what it is. Not before 1 p.m. Best entries, high volume stuff, golden zone after confirmation. So after I see what I want to see here, when the highest volume, and then if the volume is lower, get the golden zone for a fade. Risk above stuff high, always above here. And yeah, if you do make a lower low, then you can lower your risk somewhere here on lower high. And this was based on a Thursday, I want to say, trade. Stop trying to build position on higher priced volatile tickets. Don't have enough size to do that efficiently without making losses bigger. So yeah, I believe, I can't remember what was that, Nev, or something, or something. So yeah, building position, basically what I mean is like entry here, and then you try to add there. When you have your risk here, you try to be smart and add there, but your average is going to be basically here, and you still in the red but with more size, and then you end up in this situation. So yeah, with that, with the on the volatile tickets that move quite a lot, just don't try to build position. Just this area was very well, but I had to cut it here. I just allowed it to go higher. So yeah, don't try to build that thing. Then yeah, same including like para moves, which I would be looking for more like this shot rather than this, more like this. So increasing volume, and then you get that highest volume, stall stuff, and rejection of, and so on these ones. Look for a soak or a refresh at the high volume day, or some important level as well, and then see on a big tape sellers stepping in, start selling. That's where you get out, either on that or on soak. And yeah, so that's a quick summary. Time of day as well, in the afternoon, but it can also be for pump and dumps. It can be like completely random. This pretty much the same. I would consider pump and dump, but some of them you get like much bigger moves than this, and maybe even like volume a little bit bigger rising. But mainly like a pump and dump, yeah. So wait until you see the selling, exhaustion, some blowout volume, and some selling. And yeah, on these I would be looking for minimum take profit at minimum at 50% fibs retracement, and risk, yeah, a few cents above high of day, pretty much like any extension you would expect it to do. It's just the difference that with this one, it's, yeah, you wait for that exhaustion rather than on something like this, so you have to volume divergence or something similar. And yeah, that's basically rounded up my document, because I can't do the open, so I don't really have a very set. Even this actually, I'm following from Jay's room, more or less the setups. I'm like not inventing anything crazy. I'm just trying to combine like tape reading and getting a little bit better like on technical analysis and whatnot. Just combine everything, and yeah. So that would be like the document which I wanted to start with. Uh, Performance based on this. I've only done this Wednesday, I want to say, so I can't really judge too much, because it's been like a random, not like a random, strange week. And what else? Oh, so okay, basically, I'm gonna take from this to a watch list. Watch list very similar to like that document. I had my DOS reset, so I got like a new account quite recently, so I lost all my watch list. But same, I haven't been really using it that much. I had like a couple big caps watch list for like looking into swings or something. But as well now, after Wednesday's meeting, I kind of decided to actually put some tickets in my watch list, like for the ones that do tend to move multi days, and not just sort of forget them, because sometimes they just go running for 2 days, then everyone forgets about them and they give a big fade, and more or less like based on a technical level sort of thing, like quite, how to say, easy manageable trade sort of thing, set and forget more or less. And my process is mostly, I will have it check on I've added recently this daily volume profile thing based on one of your videos, but haven't started using it yet that much. That was just done probably also like 2 days back or something like this. Haven't really utilized it that much. Then I have like a daily, that's what I would look on the daily first, look for high volume days, don't see nothing, and I would look having J lines and 200 EMA. So we'd look where we are, if we're extending into one of those levels, what are we holding, nothing volume concerned. So after it did this first day, so okay, that's gonna be like it set our range, where are we playing at. Then okay, push rejection, so you comes back up, so you'd be thinking okay, it's clearing out the levels, nice, lower volume, lower high. Again, huge selling, but it actually held it and then gapped up. So now we are having all this volume below, even all this like sell volume. So there's a lot of shorts, and we held this level, open and push with a high volume, highest volume. We squeeze everyone out. This dip, run, and then oh no, gapped up and then faded. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Then I look mostly, I skip hourly, to be honest. Maybe I should be looking more at this, but I generally do daily and then 15 minutes. I will draw levels I'm interested in. So yesterday, I believe, if we were something like this, and I saw this repeating, I believe I may have traded it somewhere here, I'm not entirely sure. But once we held the 15-minute J lines with all these nice levels to have your stop set, lower volume, lower push, then this quite heavy selling absorbed all the selling from here probably, and it managed to gap up into the next day. So from here on, once we were somewhere here, it was really close to actually start squeezing, because they absorbed quite a lot of volume. So I was thinking, okay, I'll be looking, I believe I really wanted like 350 on this yesterday. Didn't quite get there. It did try to push, but it held this, pushed again. So we already got above most of this volume. That just was for a short time. Everything transacted over here. We still got this, but we already absorbed a lot here. And then on yesterday, we even had probably the highest volume day, and today the key on this was to be patient. So since yesterday I had an idea to go at 350, I believe, for an entry. but pre-market was too close to the open. Didn't really consider if I would have been present like earlier, maybe 7 or something, and it ended up there. Maybe I would have definitely shorted it, but I didn't get in. That was too close, so I waited for the open. It- well, I'll review actually the trade earlier, but I was like, then after that I was waiting for following levels. So technically, like 480 was the ultimate level, but this was more to do with tape, how how I interpret it and how I read it. But that, yeah, so that's like on this tick. I always look at the volume. Where is it? Where has it been transacted? Even not just like purely on. If I would look at on a daily, and I would say, oh, this is that much volume, this is that much volume, this is that much volume, but it can be there, it can be there, it can be there. Majority of it, so you've got no idea where it is. This just gives you a general idea. So then I look at this. That's where I try to figure out where where it is. So this would tell me most of it is probably somewhere here. Majority. This biggest volume from here to here. So on this push, so below, and then half and half, let's say. So this level is beginning to be a key level 250 because it's sort of evens itself out, and this gives below, and once it reclaims this and this, majority is basically below on the buy side. That's the general idea of my watch list. So here I have, yeah, I've just recently started adding these. Don't even know how to use this stupid thing. Put it on the main chart, but yeah, gonna have to figure this one out. Yeah, and on a mental edge side, I would say I was more aware of how I felt in the actual trades, as in if I've got too poor of an entry, or if I've got too much size and I can't risk specific level, let's say this high of day while having oversized position here. But it's all well and good, but I kind of not always sure what to do with that information, if that makes sense. And even if I have like, well, that identifying all this, I would say, yeah, that's a good read. And a similar thing, same thing's gonna happen on, let's say, on trade management, where it's no longer working, but I kind of still think that it might, and then like move my risk up for no apparent reason. But at least I kind of know where the risk should be, if that makes sense. So, and what I should be doing in those circumstances. I mean, where to risk and size accordingly, not to feel uncomfortable and then take either entries too early, or and then, yeah, well, take profits too early and then try to add at unreasonable levels because you took too early, and then ruin your average to here, and then be shaken out, I don't know, on the other level basically. And yeah, next week probably as well. I still want to stick to I'll just say this patience thing. It's kind of, I would say, working out to be more patient, to wait to my levels, to actually wait for them, and if it doesn't go there, then so be it. It's gonna go there following day. Like on the same drug trade, I believe, didn't get to my level, it got there today. And yeah, and also I saw, I think Neptune, it gave, oh yeah, this thing of, also one of the things of miss of the day probably, had this, what was my plan on this? So idea was, yeah, it's was going up multiple days, uptrending. Today, yesterday in the after hours, it broke the trend line, basically gap down, got a nice resistance over here. This all this volume above. I don't count this too much after hours, and some of them and most of the pre-market, just because it's like low volume, so I don't really count a lot these levels. I'll take them into consideration on a day-to-day basis maybe, but I'm more lenient towards this because it doesn't include a lot of transacted volume. This is sort of middle of nowhere, and this is sort of as well. Most of it is 50-50 as well. So yeah, okay, I'll take it 270 free because it's like round dollar number, and kind of I split this. It seems to be reacting to this level. And I had another, I think, 290 because I had a preset order at 290 at the open, and I was concentrating on drug and just had this like a passive trade. And I believe it picked up a little, started slowly picking up a little bit of volume, I believe. So I thought, okay, I'll just move my engagement order to, but that was as well like a small size, move it to $3. It's my like original line that I had drawn, and it just gone a few cents above that, and like it gave a lot. Nice trade, nice easy trade. Yeah, we're okay. We got off track. Where was I? Mental edge improvements. Yeah, I think just the patience thing. I think it's gave me a little bit more confirmation to wait. And actually, I am taking a little bit less trades, at least this week, than either 1, 2, or probably tops like 3 trades or something like this. Not too much on the ticker, I think, as well. Stopped on most of them. If I took 3 losses, I believe I stopped on them. A little bit more control. Don't want to say too early or whatever, and feel I've mastered this, but it does feel a little bit better. Still not using the time very well in between trades, or I kind of still feel like I need to be in the trade, which I think showed a little bit today on nerve and drug, I believe. Once I was already in a trade and I started like taking stupid profits, kind of overthinking things on a drug, ruining like average, and then yeah, getting stopped out too early. And once I got stopped out of that, sort of started hyper focusing on a nerve. Yeah, I started. Well, I'll review it in my trade review, and that's where I basically messed it up. Uh, yeah, and a rules. three things I will work on coming week: mental, technical, and one macro. Mental, yeah, I think I still need to stuck with basically just doing patience, just just purely building patience and and yeah, being patient with taking profits as well, actually, and respect your levels, especially if it's I'll just say not an easy trade, but if it's respecting, if it's not too much of a hassle, just play the levels. Don't invent like random stop levels, and yeah, respect your plan. Uh, technical technical is, I would say, as well. I'm kind of slacking on these things, so that's the Discord room I got myself based on your recommendation. Most of it is copied from the channels, copied from your example. They still barely populated, and yeah, for example, there's nothing here yet. Didn't find like anything to add specifically, or nothing here, nothing. I did something I think when I created the room. So yeah, it's still missing a lot of things to populate them. And which brings us to the tape reading thing. I've been doing this exercise actually for a while. Well, I've been on and off kind of taking some notes on all this, but never felt like it's something, how to say, that I'm getting any benefits from. I don't know, or it maybe was one of those things that I got hooked on, and I started like doing it, but only when I saw something interesting, and that kind of something that would make sense for me. So this was actually a tape that I quite enjoyed. Actually, the the squeeze. I was watching it as well, and I called it that it's gonna go, and then I called at the top as well. Luckily enough, I think that was my thesis. I've, yeah, I was watching it like, I can't remember from where. Maybe I was actually quite early on the screens. With one hand, yeah, looked at solid seller, then stopped the previous low, trap reclaim, wanted to see reverse, head and shoulders kind of gave it. So 720 previous low. Oh yeah, so basically my idea was, yeah, okay, so there was a selling idea, was that head and shoulders, reverse head and shoulders, and on breakout like on this, I would have gone like long on it for a squeeze. So after higher low, taking into account no resistance above on daily, and float and volume was at least expecting a backside clear out, had 680 as a level of sentiment. So it was small floats, no resistance on the daily, was, yeah, expecting at least, where was it, 680. What do I mean 680? But oh yeah, oh, so above 680 I wanted to go. I was thinking that if it reclaims that, then we can go. This move had to happen earlier or hold VWAP for longer, but I guess that would have spooked a lot of shorts after this. This fail, it didn't look anymore that they could set up and complete a backside clear out dump. It was too late for JLR, and float made it unreasonable to take anything else than after our squeeze. So idea was this. I took this about like 3ish. So I was thinking this is the time that it has to go. But this move, and when it didn't break out here, I didn't like actually because it extended that much. Ideally, I wanted it to hold like this level, get above this, consolidate. But this move, it didn't really do that. This week, it was increasing volume and everything. And once it faded, I thought that's just too early to make a reclaim and a nice cup and handle or something, nice hold of J lines, and then breakouts of this level. It was too late, and then I mean, fake breakout and dump, or like a backside clear out, so move all the way up to somewhere here, and then dump. It just wasn't enough time. So after this, I was thinking, okay, this, if anything that it's gonna be an after hour squeeze. This was as well. I thought to myself while watching this, too aggressive too soon. Wanted dip first to 80s. That dip under J1 JLR would have filled me risk 660. So I wanted 80s, dip into first dip into 680s. So before after, but yeah, it dipped. Can't understand, but this was too aggressive. Someone was. Ah, yeah, I was wanted to go long and basically a risk 660, so the dip would have filled me to 680. It even dipped a little bit lower, but I would have like I meant like a passive order or something at 680, and then reclaim and squeeze into the after hours. Was the stuff was still, I think it was this tape at this at this area. It was on a interesting move, which I thought like, okay, this has actually confirmed that it's a long, because once they did this stuff, they kind of like walked it down with the ask. That makes sense. It didn't look like a real stuff. It wasn't really a huge increase in volume or something. It was, I don't know. It was like selling, but the selling was only like from a smaller side, like a small prints going through. But they made it look like a stuff, but it didn't look like a stuff on a tape kind of thing. If that makes sense, it looked like a fake stuff. And then they started walking, pushing down with the ask. So basically, like small print was running red. They like selling, and they just like constantly walking down with the offer, and then reclaimed. And okay, I thought like, and then reclaimed, and yeah, this is gonna go. I would have probably hesitated taking a trade over here, because it's straight into the F house. If I was already in a trade, probably would be fine, but making a judgment in this situation probably would have been too much. And then yeah, I would have probably taken profits at this and had like a quite a decent mental short area as well. which is where is it? I think it's in the same in the same thing. So once it gone up, so we had this as well, like high volume stuff, and then it goes back up there. At 960, I noticed this. It was like I think it's, yeah, this one. So basically, green prints running, that pushed, still more green. Looks like a hidden seller. And yeah, that was the hindsight, that the spread was actually at this point was tight. It got tight. They had like a bid prop and a weak offer, some buying, but it's not moving. Next, what did we see next? So the selling flurry of red. This, yeah, exactly. So this flurry, once I saw this, it made me kind of like, okay, now I'm interested. I believe that there might be some sellers in here, but the big tape was still all like mostly green prints, but as well, yeah, 13, 12. So yeah, and of course, again, in hindsight, a huge spread. So offer is 970, bid is not pulling up, but they like bid propping at the lower level. So I started to get interested here. So why did I do that? Why did I do that? Yeah, so that. Then and I saw this huge bid prop and a very weak offer. There's still some spread, but that's as well hindsight. And with the selling, this was chipping away the bid. It was like getting smaller. And I believe when I saw this, I said like my mental. I said like, okay, I'm short here. Mainly as well, this is like always was getting chipped away, was getting lower and lower. This still looking very weak. Of course, we got enough a trap at 960, but the spread is tight, 10 cents. And the big tape finally started printing 950 big sell orders, coincides with this like soaking thing, well, chipping away. And then we had a follow through, big again, follow through on a big order, 12K, much more like faster small tape. This wasn't very comforting, 31 being one, but that all just got chipped away, sort of thing. That may have been just timing of the screenshot before the breakdown. I don't think it faded that much. I think it did held a level somewhere, but it still gave like a nice rejection at that point. Yeah, so it's that, and also the channel. Yeah, I have this like my closing closure journal kind of thing, and just like random things. Well, I try to as well differentiate a little bit things, like some post from the chat room or something about psychology. Storing those. Definitely need to update this one. Yeah, rules and processes. So that's basically the playbook. That's the first version, which is wasn't probably follow that much, and that's the screenshot on a new one that I'm trying to somehow follow and improve it a little bit. The other, the most recent tape read I did was, oh, there was this. How do I make it reasonably? Would that work? Zoom 250. Maybe that works. And draw. APRN. After hours rejection. So that was it. Previous day, and the level drawn at like 7ish. It's after hours, but this is just walking sides was like open, which is high volume, but taking account this and that basically to look somewhere interest of over there. We did a nice, so most of this volume basically underneath, this all underneath as well, and we held the level, so it was bound to push. What did we see? Big bid prop into weak ask, enticing buyers to step in and sell into them. And there was a 7-cent spread. Can see some AA orders push past levels, but bid just didn't follow. After we had 695 rejection, this would tell me we have a seller at this level. So we rejected 695. So that was like level of interest, but as I mentioned here, like some AAs going through, they open a spread, but bid just doesn't go up. He's almost like he doesn't want to get filled. He just wants to entice people to get in between him and the seller. So next was bid prop got partially filled, followed with some AA orders. Hidden seller keeps selling, and we still have a huge spread, which is like 9-cent spread. There's one on the offer. This bid prop still there, and it's just getting sold at like 85s, 83. So mid 80s. There's a seller. Yeah, mid 80s. You've got a seller there sitting. What do we see next? Okay, pushing ask, but bid is just not following again, and weak ask to entice buyers with big bid behind them. Again, AA orders, and there's some buy at 65, but that's a minute before. But big AA orders into 85, 87, 95. But bid is just not coming through. It's just opened the spread 11 cents. He still doesn't want to get filled. Next, the second bid stepped up, it got sold into. So that would happen. Okay, just as bid. So you see AAs, some greens. So just as they pull the bid up, Just as it got up, it got straight away a bigger size got sold into it. So it's not the bid prop that's getting filled, it's someone who's stepping up just as they're pulling someone bid up. Just as gets hope to for a breakout by a dip into somewhere here, it gets straight away gets sold into. What we have here, bid prop was staying in place, but once the buyers move bid above bid prop, it gets sold off, seller unloading his position with weak offer. So still same story. We still got weak offer. Bid prop stepped up to 19. Bid prop stayed in this place 688, but just as bid stepped up, got sold into big 3.5k, and then bigger orders 900 400 got sold into it just the minute it stepped up in front of the bid prop. Some buyers came through bid prop, stepped up, but all buying got sold into. So same story, bid prop is there, buying coming through, but we've got nothing on the offer, and it's just not moving. It just can't break it. At this point, we started seeing an offer trap. Previously, it was always offer looking very weak. It could mean that the games are not still done, or it could mean that you switch from propping it up to just getting filled up higher. Time to create a fake breakout and more demand to unload into. Okay, so I believe at this time I was thinking that they're gonna create a fake breakout at this point. So shorts now probably start shorting, and then they're gonna create a breakout to stop out all the shorts for liquidity to sell into. And what happens next? Bring back bid prop at previous level. Still have more shares left to unload. So okay, there was a bid prop at previously as well at the same level 83. Still it falls. It still brings the bid prop in. And we probably still haven't distributed all the shares. Bitprop is hiding few other levels, bringing in new liquidity for seller to sell into, making offer look weak. That's the thing as well. I don't know if I'm right or not. It's just something I've noticed that the Bitprop usually, when it doesn't want to get filled, he's gonna Bitprop few levels below. If that makes sense. So he's just gonna be there, and he's gonna allow to all the selling to get sold into them. So who's wanting to unload the position, so he's actually getting quite a better price and getting the liquidity. Do we have here? Offer trap is back and it's allowed to get filled. Real seller giving hope to buyers, thinking it can be chewed up and broken through with a bigger bid behind them. So yeah, there was some buying. The offer trap was actually getting eaten. It was getting like smaller and smaller. The same bid prop at 83 is still there. So the the buyer's probably thinking, okay, that's it. We breaking out, we going to the moon. Offer is allowed to be eaten away, and there's already other offer at high of day. So it got all like sold off. They didn't pull it. So you think like, okay, they're unloading and kind of in a way as in refreshing, but at the different levels. So the price was been struggling to get out through that the first level 91, but you can already see at 95 there's another offer trap, another big order sitting there waiting to get filled, and it's just getting weaker. So what they do, level got even through, but bid is not stepping up, looks weak with much weaker volume. So they eaten the level through, but the bid is not really going that much up higher, and as well it's like a weaker volume. We still got another level at 95. It's starting, but it's still mostly buying. Some big AA orders got through offer trap, but bid never followed, and 697 looks weak with bid prop at 690. So bid prop, yeah, it's still keeping that as if like doesn't want to get filled, so he's still keeping distance between offer and bid to allow bids to come in to get sold into. Some big orders, so here we see 95 above us, almost 10k. It just doesn't do much. Bid never comes up. Okay, bid stepped up 3 cents. We still got spread. What happened here? We got bid prop and the hidden seller on the offer. There we go. So we did create with the offer traps, we created a fake breakout, but it seems that 97, 97, 1.5k at least. It's just not going further. With the one on the offer, a bid prop at 92, not following into this. Looks like absorption or a soak. Well, one and the same, but one is at top, one is at the bottom. Bid prop is still at 683, so we still got the original bid prop, which we could probably say a seller at 683 by now. Where first identified, offer step down and seller showed himself on tape. Might be end move if no buyers step in. So we started seeing on the tape like big orders now 4k. Bid prop is still at the same level. Offer step down. So it came down here from the high. Bid is still not coming up, but already we see a bigger sell, not just a small sell. So we see already starting to see the first big sell. So I was thinking, okay, this feels like it should be like the end move. Okay, so now we have the bid prop at 2 levels, and weak ask trying to bring back some more buyers to sell into. So I was thinking, okay, we got bid prop 90 and 83, and we still get some selling, a bigger selling, and we've got weak offer. So all I'm thinking, okay, he's still got a position to unload. He still needs to bring in and size, make it look stronger, so more buyers come into, so they get sold into. They introduced offer trap again and let it to get filled, but buying getting weaker. So at this point again, they put in the offer trap in. Bid is not stepping up. It's still at 690, where we saw the original one was 690 offer bid prop and 83 bid prop in the previous, I think, screenshot. But the buying is weaker. I think, where are we? We are almost like a half a minute done. Volume is nowhere near to be the highest volume or even close to being a decent volume. some red. They're trying to buy, but it's just not stepping up. It's got the offer trap as well. All this buying, and we're not going anywhere because all buying is right into selling. So basically, yeah, it's like we get 10k, 10k, 2k, 6, 7k AA into like 92, 85 area, 94. So all this, and it's just not going anywhere because even with a weak offer, it just straight into basically into selling, just buying into a seller. Since buying was looking weak, offer steps down and seller sells on the bids. So he did move from 696. He stepped down to 693, and probably all this like offer trap, smaller position because he's literally selling into the bid because there's weak buying coming through already. So he has to unload us as much as he can basically into whatever price he can get. It probably doesn't feel that it's gonna be enough for a breakout. So yeah, he's stepping down basically, stepping down the offer, and he's still holding it. If anyone tries to buy into that, so they get sold, and then he starts selling on a bid. What do we have here? Offer gets refreshed. Big bid prop still same original level. So we still got, yeah. We had that 690 bid prop, 83 bid prop. He's still there. Offer got refreshed because it was being somewhat bought into, but it was being refreshed. Buyers dry out, so sellers start selling into bid and stepping down with offer again. Bid prop also no longer there at 83. So if you look at this, we already don't have a bid prop at 83. So he's probably like moved away. There's almost no buyers. We've got only red tape, and we've got bigger orders on a selling on the bid side. So once that bid prop got pulled, you probably think, okay, it should be done, and it actually was done. Well, yeah, I don't think it was completely done, but it did give I think a trade up to here, I believe, or even here, which is actually not a bad move. Oh, the other thing as well, yeah, based on a not tracking, but one of the things I'm still trying to figure out is, as we talked as well, like doing like not overthinking it and doing like just like starting it, doing like a small things. So of course, whenever I don't forget, I do try to track my something I'm quite interested in is 15-minute J lines. They seem to be working actually quite nice, especially on the long side. And it's just, I think, through this week I've noticed this most, I believe. It just does this really nice on the multi days, especially. It coincides mostly with the open, or it does that pre-market as well, I believe. And you could say that also coincides with the failed gap and crabs, or gap and extensions. When you get the extension, then it fades more, but it already, because touches 1000 EMA final target at the open, and then it usually does this because 15-minute J lines is like essentially more or less 1000 EMA. So it does kind of this after hours pre-market push, then hold that level and go above, so above this high as well, fades, bounces of this, There's this very nice. So failed. That would be probably failed gap and crap. All this retracement hits the final target, retest, and look at it go. And that's on quite few. Is that the same? Sat nav. Yeah, that's on NEPT as well. This kind of work, not the high of day, but just a good level sort of thing. Technically, I would say a pivot level on which coincides with a 15-minute J lens as well. Yeah, over here, pre-market over here. So sometimes I screenshot just like a bigger picture to see how in general it reacts, where it bounces, where it rejects. So yeah, that's one of those. Okay, I don't know. Oh my god, that's too long. Damn it. I'm not. I'm probably not gonna bother you with actually like trade reviews. It's just would be probably too much on a hour. Let's, because I think I did a little review on a drug, wasn't it? No, not the drug. Drug on nerve, I think. Nerve, because drug was okay, but I think I wanted to have it to touch on nerve, which was okay. So it fits all. Uh, what happened here was, so this is a new thing I'm trying to do as well, starting I think from this week. I somehow started adding this thing, which would be this, which are where I try to grade emotions, risk management, and trade management. I grade it mostly. I mark them color code, so it's like yeah, B minus, B plus, whatever. It's gonna be yellow. C, anything C gonna be red, and then yeah, green for A. And yeah, same review as I always used to do. Uh, but just wanted to touch on this mainly trade because it was like on my more like a technical side because I was still I think in a drug trade, and I took this with one eye basically like waiting for my level, which was at first I believe it was 9. I had it at 9:30, 9:20, something like this I believe. Waited it there. I let it push higher because it was like still quite early, and this volume was like looking like it's gonna be sustained. It's also kind of like one of the things that we discussed on a Wednesday meeting that I I've noticed, and I brought it up, which is why I talked about not be shorting not before 1 p.m., which is because you're gonna get like this weak weak volume open, and it pushes and it holds the level, and then what might look like a random volume blowout, like or exhaustion volume into a parabolic into this level, but it just traps and holds, and then it makes everyone think that, oh look, we're gonna do a clear out of the shelf and then we're gonna dump. So it plays all these games, so it does all this, and then again introduces more volume. So oh, I'm gonna short this, and you just keep fighting this, and they draw the picture you want to see all day long, and that's where everyone's fighting. So that's what I try to do just to avoid all this. and wait for my levels. If it's gonna get there, I'm gonna look at it. And this actually, the volume, everything acted so perfect. They drew a perfect picture. I did get drawn to it too, not too early. Well, yeah, I would say a little bit too early, because by plan I should have been not before 1 p.m. But the way they drew it, it was actually a perfect trade, because this is like already creating a little gap where I could expect it, if it breaks that, there's a free fall on to the downside, more or less, because most volume from here, which is this push and above. So after this, there's not enough volume there. It could do like a free fall. So let's delete all this, or at least most of it. Okay. So yeah, was waiting. I believe I even talked with Cody in the chat as well. Said, I think after somewhere here, after this action, I believe that, I think I saw something on the tape. I don't remember now, but I didn't take this because I think it was above my level. I didn't like how tape was, and didn't chase it. But then I saw this, and I even marked it on this line. I saw this highest volume, and then saw, first time I think I saw on the tape, looking at it, some selling on a big tape, I believe. At this level, it was stalling, all this highest volume. It was stalling, and then when I saw the sellers on a big tape, that's when I took the short. My risk, I believe, was just a couple of cents above this, and then I got back to entertaining. I think the drug trade kind of forgot about, not forgot about it, but I had my entry, I had my risk set, was a appropriate size for the ticker, and let it do its work. So once it kind of held this, I thought, okay, that's like a big move. That's from what, almost 10, yeah, 10 to 9:30. Okay, I took the quarter off, but my next target was, I wasn't gonna take anything off until 8:50, which I had. That I think was on a daily. This whole trade was a daily breakout level. Breakout on a daily, and that was, I think, the breakout level of the daily, 8:50. So that was my next profit taking at 8:50. So I left the day, didn't take anything here. Once it's gone up, I still had my risk here, I didn't care. Once it gone up there, stuff clear out on high relative volume. So if we look at the volume as well, I had this line marked, we never got close to this line. Volume of this push, it did look a little bit, I would say, exhaustive, like momentum push. Looked like one of those. Volume never got close, and then on sort of like an equal volume, we get this. So I took this as confirmation. I entered maybe too early. I didn't wait for this, but I never really expected this. This was just like a bonus confirmation. So once I saw this, I thought, there we go, nice stuff, good add, good recycle. After this, my risk was this, and it was, I think, very close to my average, because I took a quarter off, and here I added same as I put here. So I was just about twice the size I had here. Took another quarter of the full size over here, just because I didn't like sort of how it looked, because I thought, okay, it held this and this. I thought like this is gonna be like a lower high, higher low. Sorry, if this like higher low, So I'll just take something here to take some profits, because that was nothing on the profit side. So I thought like, okay, at this level, because if it bounces, it can bounce from here. I'll take something off. I took something off. It never gave me on a higher time frame, or like even this time frame, a lower low to validate my trade, which was idea was lower high, lower low, somewhere here, and then we still if it was lower lower high, it would have worked in terms. That's why I was adding here as well. I knew it. I didn't like it. This buyback after this dip, I absolutely didn't like it at all. This, I didn't like this at all, because we got on increasing sustained like a buy volume, even like these pushes. It just was sustained. It wasn't like this, or like this. It was nothing like this. It was sustained volume increasing. Then this was okay because they painted as well. Looked like okay. This was previous high volume. This was lower than that, which coincides with the lower high. We have a stuff as well on a similar volume as that. A stuff seller that was there. Okay, I thought like nice. Everything confirming nice. I have my level stop here. And I did see at 971, I think over here on this candle, I think was a big soak. It was a big soak. There was one hidden buyer. There was a one on the ask, one on the ask, and a huge on the tape, huge red sell into that level, 971, and from there it just reclaimed. Some buyers came in, and it just gone. The idea was, what I'm most upset about was that having all this information, all this, it invalidates my even like a higher time frame, time of day. That's as well mostly known as a time of reversal for like late day fades and whatever. And it invalidated the lower trend, basically invalidated trend to the fully. Tape even confirmed, volume confirmed, and after this ad, I ideally I had the risk here, but I thought, okay, maybe just gonna do like a last clear out and then dump. So I said, okay, I'll move a test risk to 10. Once it got past 10, and I saw it's not stuffing, and that's where the volume came in. That's where the volume came in, bigger than this, bigger than this. And I only cut it like, yeah, at my original, what I was thinking to risk, which I could have said like, okay, backside I'm risking this, but all these ads, that doesn't work that way. If I'm adding and making a larger position, that's as well. This ad was same size as this, and all these were quarters, so I was an okay size actually in this. That's why even after taking these, this stop from my average was, I think it may have been somewhere close to here. So even after taking these profits, this squeeze stop actually was the biggest loss of the day. Yeah, okay, I blabbled for too long anyways, and probably still didn't cover much things that you asked for. And and hope it's not too long. And actually, thanks for doing this. Take care.